All right, hi everyone. I'm going to spend the next few minutes just pointing some things out on the two rubrics that will be used for your final project. I've decided to go over the paper rubric first. So remember, this is a rationale paper. I expect to be pretty similar to the paper you did probably a while back now. It seems like forever, but that you did in your adult learning course for your learning environment project that you had done in there for Susan. So this is just, again, a rationale paper. I mean, it still should be scholarly. It should still have references formatted in APA format. I looked back at my paper and we had to actually peer review everybody's paper too. And on average, we were all about 7 pages when we described our adult learning project. So I expect it to be about the same. Just, straight to the point. Basically, I'm just looking that you can find in all the information in the literature I've given you, the rationale, why you should have clear expectations, why you should, have a instructor video, why it's important to align, your objectives and your learning activities with the technology. And there are certain things you pretty much hopefully have been learning that you kind of got to go above and beyond, be kind of redundant in a way when you're taking content and putting it into an online course. You just really, the biggest thing is just really have to think about all of the little details, which is a live and learn, something always sneaks by, but all the little details that can be met or covered, or, when the student's with you, quick raise their hand or ask questions. So the biggest thing is the more explicit, clear, concise, easy to understand and read, detailed instructions you give in all aspects of your course, the better you're going to be off and happier students will be. So again, hopefully use any references you've used all semester long. You have more than enough to find your rationale. I mean, I'm specifically looking more for, quality matters, rationale. I give you a lot of information on competencies of online teaching, skills, articles, universal design, and all the articles you guys used in your you shared in your discussion post. You really kind of talked about a lot of the rationales even in your discussion posts already. So it's just kind of pulling that all together. So what I decided, this paper overall is worth 25 points. And instead of being able to do 5, 5, 5, I didn't have 5 criterions. I really only had 4. So I decided to distribute the points a little differently. Hopefully it makes sense here. But basically you have rationale, the section of your paper that talks about the rationale is going to be worth 8 points. The section that talks about the learning module will be 8 points, and then writing mechanics 5 points, in your APA format 4 points. So I mean, like I said, I'm just basically, for exceeds expectation, a nice in-depth critical reflection of what you did and why you did it, why you designed things and included the components that you included, and why did you include those components? Why are they important? If you have any questions of that, always please let me know. All right, so the next one I'm going to go over, thinking about this one a lot. So this is the actual rubric for the final project. And this is the first time I'm using this rubric and doing this project this way. This is kind of a synthesis of several things we did in 2 classes. So I decided at the last minute, I consider this actually more kind of a checklist. So you're either probably going to do it, and based on how thorough you do it and have all components, get the 4 or 5 points. If you're missing things, or it's hard to understand, hard to follow, can't find things, you probably get a needs improvement. So I know some of you may already be doing this or have begun to do this a little bit and might be more proficient at it. Others, this may be brand new to you. So I decided to kind of treat it a little more like a checklist. I am not grading you on how well you use D2L, and I'm actually not grading you on the I don't want to say the quality, but the actual information you have there. So meaning I don't expect you to provide rubrics for every activity. So you may, a lot of times may just put a placeholder, say, say the word rubric will be provided. Because I'm not grading you on how well you wrote a rubric. Probably the only thing that I will want to look at, most importantly, will be coming down to objectives, but we're towards the end of your coursework now, and hopefully writing objectives is coming a little bit easier. But we want them to be written with the Bloom's taxonomy, the appropriate level to the course. If it's a beginner course, we're lower on the Bloom's taxonomy. They're always student specific and measurable. The one thing, just remember that you're going to be, on your worksheet, I had you list module or course objectives and module objectives. Module objectives need to be more specific. So just if I ask, tell you to maybe tweak your module objectives, those need to be actually very specific versus the course objectives, which are a little more broad scope. So treat this rubric kind of, like I said, like a checklist. And actually what I did, and I hope this isn't plagiarism, and I probably should actually just realize I should put on the bottom, which I will, modified from the Quality Matters rubric. So I provided a quality, I should have pulled that up for you. Let me quick see if I can pull that up. So if you take a look at this rubric, you're going to see that I pretty much built my rubric directly around this. So this is the most recent Quality Matters rubric. And this, like I said in the beginning, is not a formal Quality Matters, but I wanted you to get familiar with it and the things that they consider important. So the rubric actually does talk about course overview and introduction, your learning objectives, assessment and measurement, instruction materials. And I pretty much addressed everything here, moved it around a little bit, and then I used a lot of the verbiage in the criterion right here too. So just know that I did create the rubric that I'm going to be using to grade you based on this QM rubric. So going back to the instructions, and I may very well still, if it'll help you create like a true checklist, but you've all been taking many online courses now, and I expect you, now is the time, if you haven't noticed, really go into all of your courses, mine included, this one, and just look at the components that are in a Start Here module. And pretty much I want you to build from scratch that exact same thing. So you usually should have a general overview page that is text-based, that just says hi basically and do XYZ. I really like using a checklist, and I use D2L checklists. I'm not requiring you to do that, but if you want to create from scratch a checklist kind of thing, that's okay. But if you're a little more familiar with D2L and want to actually do a checklist, it's very easy. Also, if there's any technology you're having any problems with because you're not familiar with D2L, please let me know, because I don't want the technology to ruin the benefit of this assignment. It's kind of hard to, when we did this assignment, the instructor just made us go find LMS, whatever we wanted to, and we all did something a little different. I actually ended up kind of more creating a WordPress website. So hopefully utilizing D2L in this manner is actually a little easier than what we had to do, because I had to learn WordPress and all that kind of stuff, and everybody did something different. Some did Google Sites, and some did Saki, and some did Moodle, and some did, so it's good that we're all doing the same thing. So you should have some sort of general overview. I do say, I think down here or somewhere, put a placeholder for a syllabus so that I know you're thinking about the syllabus needs to be there. Put a placeholder for your course schedule, because I don't expect you to create those from scratch. If you have them already or want to utilize something you already have, that's great. But make sure you put placeholders there for that, and basically let the student know this is the Start Here module. You should going through this module, you should do XYZ, and it will help you get used to the format of this course. You do need in the Start Here module to address policies. A lot of people, policies not only that are in your syllabus, but also the institution's policies regarding, everything, communication, academic honesty. You want to provide links. A lot of times you just provide links to that, or you take what's in handbooks and you can copy paste into it, but you want to have links to your institution's accessibility, disability website, the academic support website, like the learning center, tutoring, general stuff outside of your class. So you always want that in your Start Here module. That's best practices. Again, if you want to just put placeholders or links, just text, that's okay. What's also very important with communication, you should address what we call netiquette. So you should have, a page that talks about netiquette. Here you can also put, if you want, direct direction, very clear, explicit directions for communication, such as, actual office hours, virtual office hours, if you want to be texted or emailed first, or, there's all those kinds of things. Course technology, that's why I had you on your worksheet. Also try to kind of start thinking about these things, but you should again have a page that addresses not only general requirements, which really usually are about, well, you need to have broadband, and you need to have a laptop, and you need to have Word, updated plugins in your browsers, things like that. But again, you probably are going to be using some specific technology that might be outside of the LMS, such as wikis. I think somebody said voice threads, or any Padlet, anything. PlayPosit, a quizzing outside of D2L, anything. You need to have more explicit instructions on how to use those, that you're going to be requiring the students to go out there, whether or not they will need to create a password or not. It's kind of a big deal now, is to try to use sites. Actually, I try very hard to use sites that don't require the student to have an account, because if you use a site outside of the LMS that requires the student to have an account, then it is actually the institution, the instructor's responsibility to make sure that site is also secure and all that kind of thing. And it can get a little crazy as far as liability is concerned. So I try really hard to have students access sites where they don't have to create an account and store any kind of personal information outside of the LMS. I mean, they're welcome to do it on their own, but when you require it within a course, it starts setting you up for some liability kind of issues. Let's see, what else? I do want you to create a video instructor introduction. I've been kind of holding off, but hopefully getting used to VoiceThread. You actually can use VoiceThread for that. Or you can use any free software out there. The one that comes to mind, that's one of the easiest to use and free, is Jing, Jing. It's by TechSmith. It's actually the one we had to use. Again, and when I took this course, we had to do this assignment. And I want it short and sweet, 2 to 3 minutes at max. It's basically just so that they can see your face. It's important. Share a little bit about yourself. Show some pictures if you want. Should be more of an informal video. And again, like I said, VoiceThread would obviously be a really easy thing to do with that if you want to and you're familiar with that. I use Camtasia, like I said, I could use Jing. You could use everybody's pretty much got a webcam on their laptop. There was probably some built-in webcam technology on your laptop that came. If you need more references on what you should use, but I actually recommend Jing. I've Googled it, and that's still one of the easiest, most recommended, free to use screen cap or video making, captures your screen, and which also then means captures your webcam. And it doesn't have a watermark, and it actually has a max of 5 minutes. So you can't go over, I want it short and sweet. And then you want to have some more sort of activity that starts building community. It's very, very important in Quality Matters that really do look at community as a big thing. And we've talked about the community of inquiry. And you can do anything from your basic discussion board, but sometimes you like to get a little bit of, be a little creative. You could use VoiceThread again here. Sometimes I remember when we did this actually in our instructor video, she told us things we like and dislike, or 3 things you should know about me, or whatever. Try to be a little creative. All right, and that's all in your Start Here module. And each component, so there's 5 components, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're each worth 5 points max, so 25 points. The next will be the learning module. It also has 5 components. And again, these are even more directly related to pretty much the exact same words. From Quality Matters in the areas that are important. Learner support and accessibility is actually one that I added into there. It's really can apply to the course overall, but I wanted us to make sure that we got that in there and addressed it a little bit. So going back to the top, and a lot of this stuff you've actually already done now. You've already thought out in the design worksheet that I had you do. So really, this has all been planned out already. So it's just to see follow through. You've already written learning objectives. Like I said, make sure that they're measurable, geared towards the learner, clearly stated, suited to the activities that you're wanting the student to learn. The same with the assessments, whatever your assessments are. Again, I don't expect you to have, if you have rubrics, great, but I'm not going to be grading the rubric itself. I just want to know that you're aware that you're going to use a rubric, just give some little description. I'm looking more at your instructions on assignments and how clear they are, and that links work, and that they do align with everything that you're having to do, the students do, and the technology that you're having the students use. It's all more about alignment in the learning module. And that's the same with the instructional materials. So again, just very clear instructions, thorough instructions that you've just kind of thought about all the little things. Really try to look at this from the student's point of view and anticipate what questions could the student possibly ask me. Again, it's a lot about satisfaction. The student feels confident, comfortable in the assignment, in you and your competency as an instructor, and it'll cut down on questions and your frustration, and it's good time management and all those kinds of things. And again, the learning activities and interactions. So for these few things, I'll be giving you a little bit of feedback on your design worksheet. So I've got some suggestions for some, tweak these things a little bit. And then the very last thing that I want you to think about, and this is coming down the pipeline hot and heavy, especially if you are currently working in a Georgia university, in the Georgia university system. We have been told at the University of West Georgia, and I believe this is for all systems, that we have to make our all of our content accessible by the fall. Any content put up, and accessibility means things like everything needs to be in HTML. Everything basically needs to be, like, they're saying that we can't even upload documents such as the syllabus. Like, everything needs to be a content page in the LMS, because there's a built-in reader so that the student can use the reader within the LMS. And if you upload documents and they're not in the correct format, they can't be read, and that puts you, liable for not meeting the student's accessibility needs. Other things you want to think about. I haven't done it myself yet, and I've got to start learning how to do this technology. And I'd like to just see that you're thinking about it and you've tried. But if you do voice over PowerPoints or any sorts of things, minimally always provide a PowerPoint that doesn't have audio, because not every student likes to listen to the audio, and or they might be hearing impaired and can't hear the audio anyway. Getting at that, pretty much anything that is audio is supposed to have a transcript, and that's freaking me out too. But if you do a YouTube, you send them out to another video, you want to check the closed captions, see if they're accurate. So, I'm afraid that this whole idea of a transcript is going to lead people to, sounding like they're reading everything. And that's so boring in an audio, video presentation. But hopefully, programs are going to really start popping up that do good voice recognition. I've heard that at University of West Georgia we're getting Kaltura, and I think it actually does have a good. So once you do your audio voiceover kind of thing, then you run it through another program and it does the transcription for you. But anyway, just be thinking about accessibility. If you use a PDF, it needs to be an accessible PDF, and you can do accessibility checks within PDF. I'm actually learning all this stuff myself. So biggest thing I want you to hear is that you provide for all types of learners too. You don't only provide text, you provide text and audio, and multiple. So reading, textbook, maybe there's audio, video, YouTube that has transcripts, and then you do a voiceover PowerPoint, but you also provide the PowerPoint without the audio, and then any other, things that can help the student learn use multiple methods to learn, to meet diversity of learning needs, accessibility issues, all of that sort of stuff. So I think that is it. The last thing I wanted to tell you is that I want you guys, it's not really built in as far as point values go, but you are required to do a peer review, one of your colleagues. I created a Google Doc. I need you to just, pair off or whatever you want to do, sign up to review somebody's online course and use this rubric kind of as a checklist. You can write, I didn't, type your, feedback in red into the boxes or whatever you want to do in this document, or do it at the end, and then send them this document, send your peer, your colleague, this document in a personal email, but also submit it to the Dropbox so that I can see that you did review one peer and see what you said, and see if those changes were made and that sort of thing. I'm running out of steam here. I hope that this was also helpful in explaining all of this. Please, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions probably in the last few weeks getting this all done. But this is it. There will be, like I said, hopefully I've worked out the kinks. Probably not. I'll need a lot of feedback at the end of this course to let me know how these assignments went and how clear the rubrics were and things like that. So I greatly appreciate it, and take care and have a good week.